This city isn't built from concrete. It's built from behavior. Every district reflects a different truth about money, not how to earn it, but how to think about it. Inspired by the psychology of money, this map reveals what Morgan Housel calls the hidden forces behind financial decisions: ego, fear, and storytelling. Come walk with me. The map is yours now. We begin here. In the alleyways of chance, dice roll in the shadows. Roulette wheels are embedded in the sidewalks. This is where outcomes are shaped by forces we don't control.
So how much of success is luck, and how do we know when it's skill?
That's the paradox. Success is often a mix of both, but we only see the outcome, not the odds. The book teaches us to be careful when judging others or ourselves. Luck can look like genius, and risk can look like failure. The truth? Be kind with your judgments and humble with your victories. Welcome to Time Horizon Heights. These towers don't rise with ambition. They rise with time. Each floor is labeled by year. Some buildings are just a few stories tall. Others stretch into the clouds. But none of them were built quickly.
Why do some towers stop halfway? Did people run out of money?
Not money, patience. Most people start building with excitement, but when results don't show up fast enough, they quit. The book teaches us time is the most powerful force in finance, but only if you stay long enough to let it work.
So, is long-term thinking just about investing?
It's about everything: careers, relationships, reputation. The book reminds us compounding doesn't just apply to money. It applies to wisdom, trust, and momentum. The longer your horizon, the stronger your foundation.
But what if the future feels uncertain? Isn't it risky to wait?
It's risky not to, because short-term thinking is expensive. It leads to panic, poor timing, and missed growth. These towers weren't built on certainty. They were built on endurance. Time Horizon Heights taught us how far we can see. But in Enoughville, we ask a harder question. How much is enough to stop chasing and start living? Welcome to Enoughville. No mansions here, just peace. This is where people stop chasing and start living.
Isn't wanting more natural? How do you know when you have enough?
Wanting more is human, but chasing more without purpose is a trap. Enough isn't a number, it's a mindset. The book says, you win when you stop moving the goalpost. Enough is the antidote to endless ambition. We've just left Enoughville, where we learned what matters most. Now, we're heading into Comparison Alley, where it's easy to forget, especially when someone else seems to have more. Welcome to Comparison Alley. It looks like a marketplace, but it's really a mirror maze. And the deeper you go, the more the mirrors stop reflecting and start lying.
Why do the mirrors lie?
Because envy distorts perception. The book reminds us no one is as rich as they look, and comparison doesn't just steal joy, it rewrites your reflection.
So how do you escape it?
You stop looking outward. You start looking inward, because the only reflection that matters is the one you build yourself. Comparison isn't a lens, it's a funhouse. And the longer you stay, the less you recognize yourself. We've wandered through Comparison Alley, where envy distorts value. Now, we enter the structural zones. The first one is the compounding district, where time quietly turns small choices into seismic outcomes. We begin here, not with towers, but with sheep. 2 sheep grazing quietly in a field. After 1 year, they've become 4. After 2, 8. No fanfare, no fireworks, just quiet multiplication. This is the compounding district, where time and patience do the heavy lifting.
Wait, that's it? Just doubling slowly? It doesn't look impressive at first.
Exactly. That's the trap. Compounding hides its power in the early years. It's not flashy, it's not fast, but give it time and it becomes unstoppable. The book teaches us the most powerful outcomes in finance come from small things repeated, not big things done once.
So the secret isn't intensity, it's consistency.
Yes, the sheep don't sprint. They graze, they grow, they multiply. That's compounding, and that's how wealth is built. We've seen how time amplifies small choices in the compounding district. Now we descend into Saving Basin, an underground reservoir of resilience, where the quiet power of holding back shapes everything that comes next. We're underground now. The air is still. Vaults hum quietly in the walls, each one labeled with years, not amounts. Fountains trickle softly into stone basins. This is the Saving Basin, not flashy, not loud, but absolutely essential.
It feels peaceful here. But in today's world with inflation and low interest, is saving still worth it?
More than ever, because saving isn't just about returns, it's about resilience. The book teaches us savings buys you time. It buys you options. It's the buffer between you and panic. You don't save to get rich. You save to stay free.
So it's not about how much you earn, it's about how much you keep.
Exactly. The vaults here don't echo with ambition. They echo with preparedness. And that's what keeps you standing when the world shakes. We're heading into the wealth versus rich zone now, where the difference isn't just in numbers, but in what survives when the spotlight fades. Here's the bridge. One side glitter, cars, clothes, applause. The other is quiet, almost invisible. This is where we learn the difference between being rich and being wealthy.
Aren't they the same thing?
Not at all. Rich is what you see. Wealth is what you don't. The book defines wealth as money not spent, the power to choose, to wait, to walk away. Wealth is silent, but it speaks volumes. They earn the same, but one spends to be seen, the other saves to be free. Because in this zone, wealth isn't loud. It's quiet power. We're heading into Tail Events Terminal now, where rare moments break the pattern and the rules of probability start to bend. We've arrived at the Tail Events Terminal. Two gates stand before us. One marked Market Crash, cold, jagged, unpredictable. The other marked Sudden Windfall, golden, glowing, rare. This is where the improbable truly lives, where a single event can rewrite everything.
These gates feel extreme. Are tail events really that important? Don't most outcomes come from steady progress?
That's the illusion. Most of history is shaped by a handful of days, decisions, or people. The book teaches us tail events, those rare, massive moments, drive the bulk of results. One crash can erase years of gains. One windfall can create generational wealth. So yes, steady progress matters. But ignoring the extremes is like flying without checking the weather.
So how do we prepare for something we can't predict?
By building margin, by staying humble, by never assuming the future will behave like the past. The gates don't open often, but when they do, they change the map. We're leaving Tail Events Terminal, where rare moments reshape the map. Now we enter the cultural quarters, where stories, symbols, and shared memory decide what survives and what gets forgotten. Homes shift as we walk, each one shaped by its era. Some built on sacrifice, others on silence. This is Generational Boulevard, where inheritance isn't just wealth, but wounds, wisdom, and the architecture of memory passed down in bricks, stories, and expectations.
How do generational experiences affect how we handle money?
Deeply. If you grew up in scarcity, you save. If you grew up in abundance, you spend. The book reminds us we don't just inherit money, we inherit beliefs, and those beliefs shape behavior. Some families leave money, others leave maps. And in Generational Boulevard, the ones who last are the ones who teach. We're now approaching Narrative Park, the place where stories shape the landscape and meaning grows in the spaces between events. Welcome to Narrative Park. Every path here is paved with stories. Not just what happened, but how it's remembered.
Why does this place feel so personal?
Because finance isn't just numbers, it's stories. The book reminds us what matters isn't what happened, it's what it meant. Narrative Park turns memory into meaning.
So, everyone's story belongs here?
Exactly. The wins, the losses, the lessons. Because the most powerful financial asset isn't money, it's perspective. We're heading into Noise District now, where signals blur, distractions multiply, and clarity fights to stay alive. Welcome to Noise District. It's always busy here, but no one's really going anywhere.
Why is everything so loud here?
Because confusion sells. The book reminds us, the more you read, the more you realize how little you know. Noise District profits from urgency, not understanding.
So, how do you find the signal?
You slow down, you filter, you ask, is this useful or just loud? Because clarity isn't found in volume, it's found in silence. Noise is everywhere, but signal is rare. And in Noise District, the loudest voice is usually the least informed. We're now approaching Freedom Fields, where the boundaries vanish and time begins to stretch. Welcome to Freedom Fields. No fences, no deadlines, just acres of time and the power to choose how to spend it.
Is this retirement?
Not necessarily. Freedom Fields isn't about stopping work, it's about choosing work. The book reminds us the highest form of wealth is the ability to wake up and say, I can do whatever I want today.
So, how do you get here?
You build it slowly, intentionally, with habits, savings, and clarity, because Freedom Fields isn't gifted, it's grown. We're now approaching Humility Hills, where the ground softens, the pace slows, and the ego learns to listen. Welcome to Humility Hills. The higher you climb, the smaller you feel, and the clearer everything becomes.
Why does this place feel so quiet?
Because humility doesn't shout, it listens. The book reminds us, you can't learn if you think you already know. Humility Hills is where growth begins.
So, what do you do here?
You pause, you reflect, you admit what you don't know. And that's when real wisdom starts. Some climb to be seen, others climb to see. And in Humility Hills, the higher you go, the more clearly you understand how much you still have to learn. We're now crossing into behavioral borderlands, the shifting edge where instincts clash with intentions, and habits quietly redraw the map. Welcome to behavioral borderlands. This isn't a place of right or wrong, it's a place of why.
Why does everything feel unstable here?
Because behavior is messy. The book reminds us investing isn't the study of finance. It's the study of how people behave with money. Behavioral borderlands is where knowledge collides with emotion.
So, how do you cross the border?
You build habits. You create systems. You accept that logic alone isn't enough. Because the real frontier isn't information. It's behavior. Some districts reward knowledge. This one tests it. Because in behavioral borderlands, the hardest thing to change is yourself. You've walked through noise and signal, through ego and humility, through knowledge and behavior. But the real journey begins now, when the map ends and your choices begin. Knowledge built the map, emotion shaped the terrain, but behavior decides where you actually go.